And we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, if you have any questions, Joseph, just type them into the chat room. I'm going to try to make sure I pay attention to that window. Just wanted to make sure we have everything organized. If you have any questions about things, the way the class works, this is the time to ask those questions. I am trying to keep up with you guys on the deliverables, the assignments, the course casts, and the quizzes. Because they're weekly, the class is pretty good size. I have quite a number of those coming in every week. So I'm working through those. I'll go through the assignments that have been submitted again this week over the weekend, and should be able to publish an updated grade sheet on the Blackboard site, by the first of the week, maybe on Monday. So let's just take a quick look at Blackboard just to make sure we're all on the same page. Let me turn my phone off here so it doesn't interrupt. Go. Okay, so on the Blackboard site, when you log in, there are a few areas where you need to turn your attention. Of course, on the class documents, that's where the PowerPoint slides are for the upcoming lectures. I've got up through Chapter 6 posted. I'll get the others up there soon as well. The current grades are posted there. It's a PDF file. I do that so that you can check to make sure that I've got you up to date and accurately graded. And the quiz keys are there too. So far I've got the first three chapter quizzes. Chapter 4 quiz will be available very soon too. I think that quiz is due before the end of the day today, so you want to make sure you get Chapter 4 done. And then what else is up here? Again, slides, current grades, quiz key. Under the assignments, I've added the assignment for Chapter 5. It has to do with face recognition systems. The technology is getting very good, and all kinds of data can be input in a variety of ways. So that's the most recent one. You're going to have a little over a week to get that done. On the discussion board, every Monday I try to post the weekly course cast. So I got the first 5 weeks up there. I'll have another one on Monday. Getting a lot of postings. Little participants has kind of dropped down a little bit. You got to stick to it and get those on every week. Still have some time for course cast number 5. In fact, you can get on there pretty much any time. What's nice about doing them during the week is you get to click on the actual current CourseCast on the CourseCast website. If you miss one, you have to go back and look through the archives to see those. And then tests and quizzes. I've posted the Chapter 5 quiz. So exactly right now, you've got until the end of next week to get that, log on and get that done as well. Okay, let me go back to sharing. Any questions, Joseph, on this? Seem to be doing okay, as I recall. You're up to date pretty much. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Chapter 5. Maybe we can be done fairly quickly and start to enjoy our weekend. All right, so let me shift gears again. Okay, so Chapter 4 was a little bit technical because it talked about the computer system, the system unit itself. For this chapter, we're going to get pretty specific and look at just one aspect of that communication system. That's the input portion. How to get the information into the computing devices for processing. And like all the other chapters, there are a number of objectives with regard to input. Oops. So there's different types of input, and you need to be able to differentiate between what's a command that you type into the computer or you click on, what's a user response to something, whether it be an auditory response, something you type into the keyboard, and then also there's input that occurs by software programs that run as well. The most common input device on all computers is the keyboard. So the authors go through quite a bit of detail on that particular input device and all of the different function keys and control keys that are on the computing devices. We use the mouse a lot too, a pointing device. There are a lot of different mouse types. How to use the mouse is going to be important as well. Nowadays, with the new devices, the new tablets and iPads and devices like that, we're using our finger to take the place of the mouse. Which is kind of interesting because the mouse sort of was developed to be an extension of our finger, and we use the mouse by clicking with our index finger, which is one of the early ways we selected something as a child by simply pointing to it with our finger. So it's kind of interesting. There are also touch screens, touch-sensitive pads, different types of pen inputs, different types of input for smartphones, a lot of input devices for various game controllers as well. And more, there's resolution. Cameras capture images. There's voice recognition, webcams, video conferencing like we're doing right now. This particular chapter takes a look at various scanners and reading devices, biometric devices that take input from our physical world and from our physical selves. There are point-of-sale terminals, automated teller machines. Going to Safeway, you can check yourself out on some of these cashier stations as you purchase your groceries. All those are input devices. And then there are some special input devices that are developed for physically challenged users as well. So, what is input? It's any data, any instruction that's entered into the memory of a computer. And as you can see from this illustration, there are many, many different types of input devices. Most common one is the keyboard, but as you can see, there are a lot of others as well. So these instructions can be entered in the computer in the form of either computer programs, commands, or responses that a user makes. That program is a series of related instructions that tells the computer what to do and how to perform those instructions. The programs respond to the commands that a user issues, either by a keyboard or clicking a mouse or using some other type of input device. And then users can respond to an instruction that's issued by us by replying to a question displayed by the program. So you may execute something and get a response back from the software application to enter in or to input even more data. So there are input devices, mechanisms, hardware that allows you to enter in that data into the computer's memory. So an input device is any hardware component that allows users to enter data and instructions into a computer. So it's a piece of hardware, it's a physical device. The most common input device out there is the keyboard. That's an input device that contains keys that you can type in your instructions. And the keyboard's been around for a long time, long before computers. The keyboard setup that we have came from typewriters. Typewriters would actually allow you to type your instructions or type your communication onto a piece of paper by using a set of hammers and keys that would work together, and when you press the key it would release a hammer that would strike either an ink ribbon or some kind of mechanism to apply a solution onto the paper, and it would actually strike and impact the paper to be able to do that. The keyboard that we have is called a QWERTY keyboard. I'm not sure if it's mentioned a little bit later in the chapter or not, but it gets its name from the fact that the top 5 keys in the left-hand side spell the word QWERTY, Q-W-E-R-T-Y, a QWERTY keyboard. And actually the keyboard was developed to slow typers on typewriters down, because if typers got too fast and were striking the keys too quickly, the actual hammers that would come up and strike the paper would move too fast as well, and sometimes collide with one another and get stuck, and it would actually end up slowing typers down. They'd have to wait to release the stuck keys. So they developed a keyboard that actually caused the typer to type more slowly than possible. Anyway, we've got this keyboard. We've been using it for over 100 years. Computer keyboards now have a lot of extra functions as well. There are between 101 to 105 different keys in the keyboard, a lot more than what we have in the original typewriter. There's usually a 10 keypad, a numeric keypad on the right side, all kinds of function keys that alter the actual responsibility of any particular key by pressing the function keys, either Control, Alt, Shift, for example. Most keyboards on PCs that are Windows PCs have a Windows key as well. They have an application key and all kinds of toggle keys as well to turn off other pieces of hardware or open up other software applications as well. Now, on the keyboard, when you're using the keyboard to do your input on some type of application that's running, there's usually an insertion point where the cursor is. So that's the actual location on the screen that will be where you enter your characters when you type them. So there's an insertion point. That's where the cursor is. It's kind of a good thing to know as well. Now, keyboards can be wired, like the one I'm using today, or you can use a wireless keyboard. And the wireless keyboard most typically uses either Bluetooth or some kind of infrared technology. So you got to be pretty close to the actual device to use a wireless keyboard. Wired keyboards use USB port. Some of the older computers use PS2 instead. Those keyboards are still around. I think we have quite a number of them in our Aloni lab, to be quite honest. But typically the new keyboards are USB wired, and there are many wireless keyboards as well. Some of the keyboards are ergonomically designed. That means they're made to make your work of typing more comfortable. People who do a lot of typing for their job often suffer from repetitive injuries, repetitive action injuries, where they keep doing the same thing repeatedly, and it can cause problems in the tendons and muscles as well. So an ergonomic keyboard incorporates comfort, efficiency, safety. Personally, I haven't ever liked typing on the ergonomic keyboards myself. I think if I had to use one of those, it would actually hurt me more than it would help me. So keyboards on other types of computer systems, on mobile devices, can't have the 101 to 105 keys, so they usually have fewer keys. Some phones have predictive text input. In fact, that's been great on my smartphone. I'm a real slow texter, and inputting on the keyboards was difficult for me. But with my new phone, with the predictive text, I begin slowly texting and entering in my text, and the computer, the phone, the software actually finishes that text for me. Usually pretty good. Sometimes it picks a word and I'm not paying attention, and I end up putting something that's pretty strange in some of my messages that I send out. Other types of input device after keyboards that are quite important are pointing devices. So a pointing device is an input device that allows the user to control a pointer on the screen. It's a small symbol on the screen whose location and shape change as the user moves a pointing device. Well, they're talking about a pointing device here. They're really referring to the mouse. The mouse is a pointing device that fits under the palm of your hand comfortably. It's the most widely used pointing device on desktop computers. And like the keyboard, a mouse can be wired or wireless as well, either USB, PS2 if you have an old mouse, or wireless. Now, a mouse can be pretty powerful. It has a lot of different operations between just pointing and clicking. You can do right mouse clicks, you can do a double click, triple click, you can drag, rotate the wheel if you have a wheel mouse. Sometimes triple clicking gets done, right drag. There's that free spinning wheel, the press wheel, tilt wheel, press thumb button. There's all kinds of different operations that can be completed on today's mouse for computers. There are other pointing devices as well. Let's take a look at some of those. A trackball is a stationary pointing device with a ball at the top of the side, so you can use that to make your selections. A touchpad, of course. Most of the laptop computers have a touchpad. And then a little pointing stick, which is found on a lot of the IBM PCs as well. Actually, I don't need my headphones, so I can't hear anything from you, Joseph. Although, you could set it up with such few people logging in, you may want to call in as well to do that. We will try that out. It's one of the future meetings. So the pointing stick is a pressure-sensitive pointing device. It looks like a pencil eraser, usually on the IBM or Lenovo laptops. That's where it was made most popular. Touch screens. Touch-sensitive displays are all over the place. You can go to the supermarket and use the touch screen there to make your purchases. Obviously, your smartphones all have touch screens. Check-in at the airport is done by touchscreen. It's just really easy for us to use our finger to point at things, and the technology allows us actually to do that. There's a couple of proprietary touchscreens and touch-sensitive pads. Microsoft has the Microsoft Surface, which allows a group of people to interact with the input in one place. And then Apple, of course, made pretty famous their on their iPods, little touch-sensitive pads as well. There's pen input. You can touch stylus or digital pen on a flat surface to actually do more than just point and select. You can write, draw, make selections as well. It's pretty amazing the kinds of things you can do with the pen input. There's other kinds of input as well that appears on smartphones. Different phones have different types of input device. These are all kind of interesting additions you can use to your cell phone. You can use wireless. You can use a headset with your phone, take pictures, to input that way, digital camera that's built in. Some smartphones come with a input pin as well. Some of them come with very pliable and portable QWERTY keyboards as well, as you can see on this illustration on the right for the BlackBerry. So game controllers are used primarily for entertainment, of course, but video game and computer games use a game controller as the input device. It allows players of the game to direct movements, actions on the screen. There are a variety of types of input devices for the different types of games that are out there. Game pads, joysticks and wheels, dance pads, light guns, motion sensing controllers like you find on the Wii device and other things like that as well. I think on my next slide I've got a picture of some of the different game controllers, which Justice, you may be familiar with some of these. I think I did play the little guitar input devices once years ago, and that was Guitar Hero, I think was that game that was out there. It was quite famous. So we've looked at keyboard as the #1 input device, then some pointing devices, and then those pointing devices have developed into a variety of different types of input devices. Digital input pens, touch screens, and now game controllers as well. But there are other types of input device. Digital cameras. With the camera, you actually think more about the output that results, the finished picture when you're done that you can look at. But digital camera is an input device. It actually allows users to take pictures and to store those digitally. There are a variety of cameras, studio, field, point and shoot cameras, those kinds of things. How they work, it's pretty amazing really, and fairly inexpensive, and actually got a pretty nice camera built into your smartphones as well. Point the image, store that image on a chip. The charge coupled device, or CCD. CCD generates an analog signal that represents the image. The analog signal is converted to digital by the converter, and then the processor in the camera adjusts the quality of the image and actually stores the digital photo on the media that's inserted for the camera as well. So digital cameras are pretty amazing devices. Now, some are better than others though, and there's a couple factors that affect the quality of the cameras. The resolution, the number of pixels that are displayed horizontally and vertically. The more pixels, the better the resolution of that particular image. Each pixel consists of one or more bits of data. And the more bits used to represent the pixel, the more colors and shades of gray that can be represented. So resolution is an extremely important factor on your digital cameras. You want to make sure you have a pretty high resolution camera if you can afford one. Another way to take input is with voice. Obviously the new iPhones have Siri. You can talk to Siri and have the device respond to your voice and execute commands and answer questions. Pretty amazing. There is voice recognition software. Dragon Naturally Speaking is probably the leader in that particular area. We've used Dragon Naturally Speaking for quite some time at Ohlone College with our large number of deaf students that we have on campus. We end up supplying a lot of our computers on campus with this application. So the spoken words can be converted to text, and deaf students who can't hear those spoken words can read them. It's pretty amazing. There is also audio input. So that's the process of entering any sound in the computer at all. This your speech, music, sound effects, all those things can be done through audio input. So the communication in this case is auditory, and your computer is capable of actually taking that auditory input and processing it. So music production software is a great way for users to record, compose, mix, edit music, sounds. Computers have enabled tremendous things to happen with music and sound. So another form of audio input. There's also video input. So you're seeing that from my end, I think, anyway. I've got my video camcorder on. We could actually have you guys hook up some cameras too. We could try that out maybe one of our more future web conferences. So video input is the process of capturing full motion images and storing them on the computer's storage medium. So I'm actually recording this particular web conference, so the video that I'm displaying will be captured as well, recorded and stored. You need to connect the camera to a port on the system unit. My camera's connected to USB. You can then transfer video and images to digital files as well for use. So here's an example of connecting your video camera to the USB or FireWire port, downloading the videos that you've taken, and using software to manipulate and enhance that video as well. So I talked about this already, but a webcam is a type of digital camera. You can capture video and still images, send email messages with video attachments, add live images to some messages, broadcasts over the, make video telephone calls, kind of like what we're doing today. So a video conference, which is, again, what you and I are doing today, Joseph, is a meeting between two or more geographically separated people. So, I don't know, are you in Fremont, or where are you at? I'm actually in Pleasanton. Yeah, so we're not too far away, but certainly too far away to hear each other without the benefit of this software. I actually had a web conference earlier this morning. We do teacher training here at Ohlone as well in our networking department. And I had a teacher from Georgia logged on. Because for him it wasn't morning, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but for me it was 10 o'clock this morning. And I actually had him hooked up with a camera and microphone, so we actually spoke and shared information using CCC Confer. All right, another type of input device, scanners and reading devices. Early scanners were flatbed, because what we wanted to scan were pieces of paper, 8.5 by 11, so we needed a flatbed scanner in order to do that. There are pen and handheld scanners, sheet feed scanners, drum scanners, quite a variety of different scanners you can find out there. Pen or handheld are used frequently by retail stores, both for identifying your purchases, but also for doing inventory out on the floor as well. So scanners and reading devices, very prevalent, common. Oh, excuse me. So here's just a little flow chart that appears in the textbook on page 278 on how a flatbed scanner works. We actually have a scanner flatbed in the lab in 119 that students can come in and use. Looked up exactly like this. Place the document on the scanner, run some software on the computer, scan, and convert the document to the digital image. So scanners have gotten very powerful and efficient and very accurate as well. So some scanners can actually read characters, and they have software called optical character recognition, or OCR software. It allows for the reading of characters from ordinary documents, and then take that text, that character recognition, and turn it into a text file that you can actually edit and change. So a lot of my banking, I haven't actually stepped into a bank in quite some time. I usually go to one of the teller machines, automated machines, ATMs, and I can turn in my checks and scan them, and it will release the document of that check for me. And it uses optical character recognition to identify the check and also determine what the actual amount of the check is, if the handwriting is fairly legible, and help me when I make that deposit. There's also optical mark recognition. So OMR reads hand-drawn marks, such as small circles or rectangles. So forms that you have to bubble in, you do that. We used to have to do it with number 2 pencils, but don't really even have to do that anymore, because the computing devices that are going to do the reading of those hand-drawn marks can read either number 2 pencils or pen or highlighters or any variety of writing mechanism. So there are also barcode readers or a barcode scanner, which uses laser beams to read a barcode. Those barcodes are used when we make all of our purchases at retail outlets. They just use the barcode. They scan that barcode, it checks with the database, and if it recognizes that barcode, it can then act upon it. Charge you, add it to your bill, check you off for having the right ticket to get into an event, and some of those barcodes can actually be put in your smartphone and used in that manner. So scanners and reading devices, there are a number of others. The RFID, radio frequency identification, is an up-and-coming input mechanism. Uses radio signals to communicate with tags placed in or attached to an object. An RFID reader reads the information on the tag via radio waves. And RFID can track a lot. Number of times the user runs, tracking locations of soldiers, employee wardrobes, airline baggages, checklift tickets of skiers, tracking toll payments, checking out library books, you name it. There are all kinds of mechanisms to use radio frequency identification. So someday you're just going to go in and make all of your purchases. Everything will have an RFID. You'll just take your groceries that you bought. You won't go to a checkout stand. You'll just walk through the door, and the radio frequency identification device will pick all that up. And excuse me for a second here. I'm going to pause just for a second. Joseph will be right back. Got someone coming in here. I got to just chat with them. Just give me 5 minutes. I had somebody at the door. One of the disadvantages of working at home. All right. Well, we should have stopped the recording too, but anyway, that's all right. So with these RFIDs, you can make all of your purchases in the store and just walk right out. Passing through scanners would automatically scan everything you have in your possession that you purchased, charge your credit card on file, and eliminate having to have a checker or having to wait in line to exit as well. So there's a lot of things that can be done with RFIDs. Pretty neat technology that's up and coming for sure. Okay. Other reading devices, magnetic stripe card readers, so your ATM card, your debit cards, credit cards, entertainment bank cards, all have a magnetic stripe on the back that has magnetic data that can be read by scanning by a reading device. That magnetic strip contains bits and bytes on them that are related to you and your account, and can be credited that way as well. There's magnetic ink character recognition. This is kind of how the banks work by reading your checks that you receive and deposit. So an NICR reader converts those characters into a form the computer can process. So the bank industry uses this for check processing quite extensively. Been using it for quite a while. There are sort of point-of-sale data collection devices that can obtain data directly at the location where the transaction or event takes place. So this can be used in restaurants, grocery stores, factories, warehouses, outside, anywhere where through wireless connection to the internet or to the network that they're using, they can take input in and read that into the device. So I know grocery stores use this not only for making sales, but also to take inventory as well. Another type of input device are biometric input. Biometric authenticates a person's identity by verifying their personal characteristics, their fingerprint, their face, their hand shape, the sound of their voice, signature. All of these things are unique. No two people have the same of any of these things. The same fingerprint, the same face, the same eye shape and color, same signature. All of these are unique and can be taken as input and used to verify a person's identity. So actually the assignment for this week is actually on face recognition systems. You get to do a little research on that. So here's a couple of pictures of different types of biometric input, fingerprint reader, hand geometry system, the iris recognition system. So it really can secure your identity and secure locations in buildings, and are pretty amazing devices actually. So a lot of input can be taken in the terminal. It's a computer that allows users to send data to or receive information from a host computer. So point-of-sale terminals are the POS terminals. Records purchases, processes payment, updates inventory, An ATM allows users to access your bank account. The red box is for DVD kiosks where you can rent movies. Yeah, the assignment for Chapter 5 is going to be due next week, so before the end of next week. So you got time to do it. Just need to log on, do a little research, write up 100 words, and submit that for me as well. So you can learn a little bit more details about face recognition. So just a few more slides, just to put it all together here. Depending upon what type of user needs you have will determine what kind of input device you're going to use as well. So for home use, you're going to use a keyboard and mouse. You might have a fingerprint reader on your computer. You might use a webcam, headphones with a microphone, those kind of things like I'm doing today. Same thing with a small office, home office. Those are similar things. So touch screens, scanners, readers are often not common in the home and small office environment. In other areas, however, though, you may find different types of input device. Mobile users and power users need wireless, of course. They may have a touchpad that they use. Of course, headphones, webcam are all pretty commonly used input devices as well. For the enterprise user in today's business environment, because they make their living on using computers, they may have an ergonomic setup. They may have OCR, character recognition, and readers, barcode readers as well. Video camera rather than a webcam for video conferences. They may have to use some kind of biometric device to be able to get into the enterprise office as well, which might be a secure building. Now, physically challenged users have custom type of input devices that can help them, like a key guard or a keyboard with much larger keys, or an on-screen keyboard. All kinds of variants of different pointing devices, a head-mounted pointer if they're paralyzed from the neck down, for example. Gesture recognition that can be taught to the computer, and that the physically challenged user can teach a computer to do. Computerized implant devices, there are a variety of different types of input devices that can be used. So here's a couple examples of keyboard, for example, with much larger keys, head-mounted pointer with a camera receiver, and reflective tracking surface attached to the brim of the hat. So, you know, you thought a head-mounted pointer might look like some kind of strange device with a long sort of pointer pencil rod device that they would use to tap on the screen, but actually this is all done through wireless as well. All right, well, Joseph goes pretty quickly when there's only one person asking questions, and if they don't have too many questions. And this chapter is kind of short too. So you'll be able to go in and take a look at some of the various techniques that can be used for entering input. There's a lot of different devices. You need to know the more commonly used ones. And you should be familiar with some of the other type of devices as well. Keyboard, mouse, other types of pointing devices, touch screens, pen input, game controllers, voice and video, biometric input, terminals, and then some of the input devices that are used for physically challenged users as well. All right, that's Chapter 5. There's a short quiz, I think 10 questions, maybe 15. You've got 30 minutes to log on and do it, so you may want to read through the chapter before you attempt the quiz. You've got a course cast view this week. It's got some interesting topics on it. I like the course cast the best. They're probably my favorite part of the class. And then there's an assignment on Chapter 5 on face recognition systems. So Joseph, any questions before we wrap things up? Okay, well, you're quite welcome. I appreciate having an audience, even if it's only an audience of one. So appreciate you logging on. It makes it easier for me to get this kind of stuff done. All right, so I will see you next week. We're going to be back on the Thursday schedule, however. Although I might put out an inquiry and see, I'm thinking about making it a requirement for everyone to log on to at least one of these live web conferences just to get the experience. All right, but I'll let you know if that happens, and you've got yours done anyway, so you won't have to do any more. All right, I'm going to shut this down. Back to my agenda. Make sure to get that Chapter 5 and assignment and quiz done this coming week as well. Don't want to fall behind on those exercises. All right, I'm going to log off. I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.